हेलो।
जी सर।
हाँ, एम आई ऑडिबल?
जी।
ठीक ठीक।
अब आप मैनेज कर लिएगा, जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स आए इनको इन कर लिएगा।
ठीक है, मैं कर लूंगा। हाँ, कहाँ हो?
सर आज बस लैपटॉप का कूलिंग हो रहा है, अपडेट हो रहा है सिस्टम।
तो ज्वाइन नहीं करेंगे आप?
जी सर,
ज-
लेट हो रहा है, जो ज्वाइन करने में लेट हो रहा है सर।
ठीक है।
बस ज्वाइन कर।
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, you are audible.
So, should I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the first live session of the course Morphology of Urdu Hindi. So we are live to have your queries or any doubts if you have. So you can ask me. So basically, in this course, we have discussed the morphology of Urdu Hindi. So as you all know that morphology is a branch of linguistics which deals the what is the how the words are formed and what is the structure of the words. And there are many things we have discussed regarding the word, like the structure and the form of the word, like prefix, suffixes, infixes, formation, different word formation processes, and different things regarding the morphology. So basically, morphology is the study of the word structure and the formation of the word. So in the word structure, we can say that a word in any language has many different formation, like the word formation processes. So the affixation is a very basic word formation processes in any morphology. In affixation, we have the prefixes and we have the suffixes and we have infixes. So in English and Urdu, most of the time we have the prefixes and suffixes. So in English prefixes, we have like un, and so in unhappy, or we have in inaudible, and we have re in the reopen word, and we have dis in disqualified. And the example of suffixes are like as, the plural as, which is in the word books, and we have like ing in the verb. So like we have the word like working. So in the word working, the ing is the suffix. So many languages have this kind of words in these languages. So basically, these things that we have discussed with the morphology. So in the first week and the second week, we have discussed the basic morphology regarding the. So we have given the example from English. So like we define what is the morphology, and we discuss many definitions of morphology, and we have also discussed the term morpheme and different types of morphemes, and we have also discussed the free morpheme and bond morphemes, and we have also discussed the morph and allomorph, and we have discussed the conditioning of allomorphs, and we have also discussed the difference between the word and morpheme. So those things we have covered in week 1 and week 2. So still, if you have any query till the course that we have uploaded near 4 weeks, so you can ask me here. So we start with the first
So we have to
week.
start. We have to ask the question in between or in the end of the class.
You can ask now if you have any question.
Okay. So I want to know regarding the conditioning of allomorph. Like
Okay, so
exactly it does.
so in the conditioning of allomorph, we have discussed three conditions. So one is the phonological conditioning, and the second is the morphological conditioning and the lexical conditioning. So phonological conditioning means, so first you understand what is the morpheme. So morpheme is the minimal meaningful unit of a language. So morpheme is the abstract unit. So like, for example, we have the morpheme like cats. So in the word cats, we have the two morpheme. One is the free morpheme cat and S is the bond morpheme. But when we are talking about the allomorph, so allomorph might be the different realization of the morpheme. So like the one abstract unit can have different realization and different representation according to their conditions, according to the influence by the adjacent sound. So in this regard, in terms of allomorph, so the morpheme has different realization, which is called the allomorph, and the allomorph has certain condition, like in certain context, in certain condition, they have different realization. So for example, the plural s in English has three different realization in three different phonological conditions. So in the word cats, when the S follows by the voiceless sound, so it occurs as sta. And when we have the word like dogs, so when the sa, the plural s occur after the vowel sound, so it actually has the sound of za. So that is the another allomorph. And when we have the sibilant sounds like the hissing sound, so when the sa occur after the sibilant sound like roses, buses, churches, judges. So in this condition, the plural s occurs is. So these are the three different conditions of plural s. So that is the condition means they have certain context. So if the sa occur after the voiceless sound, so it actually occur as sa. And if it occur after the voiced sound, so voiced sound like the da, ga, za, this kind of sound, so it occur as the za sound. If it occur after the sibilants or the hissing sound, so like the hissing sibilants are the affricates and the fricative sound. So if it occur after those sound, so it actually represent as is. So these are the three
Sir,
different phonological conditions. Yes.
sir, so like how will we get to know that this sound is sibilant, this sound is voiced? How will you get to know that?
So for this thing, you have some basic idea about the linguistics. Means we have studied the IPA symbols. So where there is this clear-cut division of the voiceless sound and voice sound.
So
Because
how we'll get to know from where we'll get this IPA? Will you provide us
yes, we
IPA?
can provide us if you need this because we have already actually proposed in the course that for this morphology course, you must have the basic understanding of phonology of and phonetics. So for that basic understanding, you must differentiate between the voiceless sound and voice sound and the sibilant sound. So all these things are there in the IPS symbol. We can provide you all these things. So anybody has any other question? No. So uh, we have also some other conditions like the morphological conditions and the lexical condition in the allomorphs. So basically, the morphological conditions means when the sounds are not changing because of the like the adjacent sound, but there are some changes in the morpheme because of the certain grammatical requirement. So that is called the morphological condition. For example, if you are changing from the word like from ox to oxen, or if you are changing from the word like the go into went, so the go change for the past is the went. So these are the condition which comes under the morphologically as well as lexically conditions because for the changing from go to went, you we are not have any phonological condition, but it changes because of the morphological requirement. So morphological requirement is that so go change into the went because of the sentence is past. So the past sentence need the past morpheme. So that is the morphological condition, and it also comes under the lexical condition also because there is uh, in lexical condition we are dealing with the thing which is not so for those things we are not we are just memorizing all these changes like there are lots of exception in the language, so all the exceptions you memorize. So lexical condition means the exception in the language. So for example, we have the sheep change for the plural is the sheep, so there is no change. Go change into the went, so there is the whole replacement of go into the went. And we have many other exception in the language which does not follow the regular pattern. For example, for making the past, the regular pattern is that we are adding the ed suffix, but there is lots of irregularities in the language, and all these irregularities comes under the lexically condition. So that means you have to memorize individually all these things, so which comes under the lexical conditioning. So that regarding the allomorph means the conditioning, the phonological conditioning, morphological conditioning, and the lexical conditioning. And first, in the first week, we have discussed the morpheme. So, what is the morpheme? So we start with the morpheme. So morpheme is the minimal meaningful unit of a language. So, for example, if you have any sentence, any chunk of the sentence, if you are further analyze or break into the meaningful part, so the last part would be called the morpheme. If you further analyze that last part, so it will lose its meaning. For example, if you have the word like unhappiness. So in the from the unhappiness words, if you remove the ness, so you got the word unhappy. If you further remove the un prefix, so you will get the word happy. So happy is the one is the morpheme. So this is the free morpheme which cannot be further analyzable. Means you cannot further break down in the different like in high plus p. So it will lose its meaning. So that is called the free morpheme. So in any language or particularly in English, we have different types of morpheme. So basically the morphemes are divided into two parts. One is the free morphemes and the other is the bond morpheme. And free morpheme further divided into two parts. So one is the lexical morpheme and the other is grammatical or the functional morphemes. So in the lexical morpheme, we have the word like noun, we have the word like verbs, we have the adjectives, adverb. So all these contained word or the open class words comes under the lexical morpheme, which is the part of the free morpheme. And on the other hand, we have the functional morpheme or the grammatical morpheme. So these are also the free morphemes. So in functional or the grammatical morpheme, we have like articles and we have pronouns, we have prepositions, we have conjunctions, and we have postposition. All these terms comes under the functional morpheme. So they do not provide any content meaning or they are not providing the main meaning in a sentence, but they are fulfilling the grammatical requirement. But independently, they have some meaning, so that's why they comes under the free morphemes. In
Sir,
the functional morphemes, yes.
so sir, how will you get to know, like, is it this is the functional morpheme and this is the content?
So we call it the functional or the grammatical morpheme because in a sentence when I'm saying that like ladka khana khata hai. So here the ladka is the lexical morpheme, khana is the lexical morpheme, khata is the lexical morpheme, and hai is the functional morpheme or the grammatical morpheme. So this hai does not have the like it is not providing some content meaning. It is not providing the main meaning in a sentence, but all the other lexical or the open class word or the lexical morpheme providing the main meaning or the main content meaning. But this hai does not provide, but independently it has meaning. Means it does not require any other morpheme. For example, the bond morpheme. If I am saying that ladkiyan, so the ladkiyan, ladki is the free morpheme and iya is the bond morpheme. So iya independently does not have any meaning. It needs a free morpheme to attach with it to give it meaning. But this particular morpheme, like the hai, has some independent meaning. So it comes under the lexical morpheme. So in the lexical morpheme, it comes under the functional or the grammatical morpheme. Is it clear? And we have another example
Yes.
like मैंने लड़के को देखा. So here the ne and ko is also comes under the functional morpheme or the grammatical morpheme. So they are not providing some contained meaning, but they have some meaning like there's some independent meaning. Ko. Okay, so that comes under the postposition in Urdu Hindi. So in English, I'm saying that uh, I I write a letter with the pen. So here with and the are the uh, grammatical morpheme or the functional morpheme. So they are not providing and they are not contributing for some content meaning, but they have some grammatical function and they are actually uh, providing the grammatical information and they are attaching sometimes some other content words in a sentence. So is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
So we have discussed the two types of morpheme. One is the free morpheme, and other is the bond morpheme. So under the free morpheme, we discussed lexical morpheme and the grammatical morpheme. So lexical morphemes are non-verb adjective adverb, and the grammatical morphemes are preposition, postposition, pronouns, uh, and conjunction articles. So they are the grammatical or the functional morpheme. And in the bond morpheme, we have different types of bond morpheme. So some morphemes are the inflectional morpheme, some morphemes are the derivational morphemes, some morphemes are the so in terms of affixes, some morphemes are prefixes, suffixes, or infixes. And there are certain other types of bond morphemes in many languages, which are the like empty morphemes and zero morphemes. And the third one is the portmanteau morphemes. So all these morphemes comes under the bond morpheme. So basically, the bond morpheme is not does not cannot occur independently in any language. So they always occur with some free morpheme. For example, if I say the word like singing, so in the singing, sing is the free morpheme and ing is the bond morpheme. So ing cannot occur independently in English, but it can occur with the certain free morphemes, so to provide the meaning, so contribute the meaning. So they are basically the bond morpheme. So they are not providing, they are not cannot occur independently. So like all the prefixes, all the suffixes, all the infixes are the bond morpheme. So in English we have the prefixes like un, dis, re, and ill, in, all are the bond morphemes. And the suffixes in English, we have like nes, les, ly, s, ing, ed, all are the bond morphemes. So they are the suffix in English. So if we are talking about the Urdu or Hindi, so in Urdu we have the prefixes like be, and we have the prefixes like ku, and we have the prefix like the pir. So this kind of prefixes we have in Urdu, Hindi, and they they always occurs with certain free morphemes. So they are not occurring independently. So any prefixes or any suffixes. So in suffixes we have like o in kitabon, we have in in kitabein, and we have iya like ladkiyan, we have a like ladke, we have ladka, so we have like a in ladke. So these all are the suffixes in Urdu. So they comes under the bond morpheme. So they are not occurring independently. And there are other very important division in the bond morpheme. So one types of the bond morpheme or the prefixes and suffixes are called inflectional morpheme, and the other types of prefixes or suffixes called derivational morphemes. So they are also the bond morpheme, but they are very crucial in any language. So for example, we have the word like cats. So the plural s is the inflectional morpheme. So that is the division. So inflectional morpheme does not create the new word or new meaning in a language. So they are just changing, and they are just modifying the grammatical information, means very little bit grammatical information. So like from the number, from singular to plural, and from main verb to the past verb, from the to the progressive verb like ing, or for the passive verb like en. And we are also have certain like with verb we have the s or es when the subject is third person singular. So all these suffixes comes under the inflectional morpheme. So they are not creating the new words. They are just changing in they have some certain change in the grammatical information. So like from singular to plural, like boy and boys. So S is the inflectional morpheme. Walk to walked. So ED is the inflectional morpheme. And write to writing. So ing is the inflectional morpheme. So write is also verb, writing is also verb. Walk is also verb, and the walked is also verb. So there is no change. There is no. They are not creating. They are not driving the new meaning. So we have another example in terms of adjective like tall, taller, and tallest. So in the taller, er is the inflectional morpheme. In the tallest, est is the inflectional morpheme because they are just changing in the degree from comparative to superlative. But they are not driving any new words. So which is also comes under the derivational morphemes. Oh, sorry, inflectional morphemes. And for the derivational morphemes, so derivational morphemes are those morphemes which are driving the new meaning and the new words in a language. So in English, we have the example like write to writer, teach to teacher. So er is the derivational suffix, which is actually driving the new meaning. So the write is the verb and writer is the noun. Teach is the verb and teacher is the noun. So in terms of prefixes, we have also uh, like the derivational morpheme, like happy becomes unhappy, logical become illogical, qualify become disqualify. So they are also driving that new meaning. So they are driving the new meaning by just adding the prefixes. Means the prefixes, so these prefixes are the negative prefixes. So they are driving the new meaning, which is the negative prefix, which has some negation, negative meaning. So that is the example of derivational morpheme. So like and all the prefixes like and, this, il, im, or are the derivational suffixes. And in terms of suffixes, we have like the er, we have like ness, we have like less, we have like ly. So all these are the derivational suffixes. So because they are driving some new meaning in a language. So that is the very crucial division in any language. So in Urdu, we have Urdu, Hindi, we have this kind of division between the inflectional morphemes and derivational morphemes. So for inflectional morpheme, we have like a, o, and ia. So these are the inflectional morpheme. Like ladka change into the ladke. So a is the plural morpheme. And in terms of gender, which is ladki. So ladki change into ladkiyan. So iya is the inflectional morphemes. And when we have another types of derivational morphemes also in Urdu Hindi. So if I'm saying like kitab. So when we are changing the kitab into kitabi, so e is the derivational morphemes. So it actually driving the new meaning. So kitab is the noun, and kitabi could be the adjective. And we have iman, and so if you are adding the word be, so be iman. So be is the derivational because it actually driving the new negative meaning. And if you have the word like uh, Beiman, so if you are adding the e like Beimani, so e is the suffix which is the derivational suffix because it actually driving the new meaning in a language. So there are many types of inflectional and derivational morphemes we have in Urdu. So inflectional morphemes are those morphemes which is actually change in some grammatical information but does not create new meaning or does not create the new like the new words. Means it is not changing their words. Yes, Afrin, do you have any
Yes,
question?
sir. Sir, like, so can a word have both inflection and derivational morpheme together?
Yes, of course. For example, we have the word like workers. So in the workers, er is the derivational morpheme and s is the inflectional morpheme. So that is the rule of English or any language. If you add the inflectional morphemes in any word, so you cannot add the derivational morpheme after the inflectional morpheme. But after the derivational morpheme, you can add inflectional morpheme or another derivational morphemes. So like in the writers, so right is the free morpheme and er is the derivational morpheme and s is the inflectional morphemes. So if I'm saying that like the walked, so ed is the inflectional morpheme. So in this word walked, you cannot add further any derivational morpheme because it blocks the any new attachment. If you add the inflectional morphemes in the word, so it blocks and the further addition of any derivational or an inflectional morpheme. Like
Yes.
if I'm saying that like booked into the books, so now we cannot add any further morphemes. Yes.
Yes, sir. Clear. Thank you.
So any other has any question? No. So that's the thing that we have discussed the inflectional morpheme and derivational morphemes in Urdu and Hindi and English. And the other types of morphemes means the bond morphemes. We are called the portmanteau morphemes and zero morphemes and the empty morphemes. So the portmanteau morphemes are those bond morphemes which has more than one grammatical features at a time. So it is not that much common in Urdu, Hindi, or English, but in many other languages, it is very common, like in the Semitic languages or the other Germanic languages, it is very common. But in Hindi, Urdu, it is not that much common. But I can give you one example of portmanteau morpheme. For example, if I am saying that I am writing a letter, so here am is the morpheme which has more than one grammatical feature. So one feature is that it has some present tense features, means when there is an am in a sentence, so it actually describes the present tense. So it gives the meaning of tense and it also gives the function of the progressive. So if you have the am there in language, in any language, so it provide you that am needs a uh, uh, first person like I. So it needs a first person subject and it needs a present tense and it needs a progressive aspect. So that is the am has multiple function or multiple meaning at a time. So that is the one form and the one form has different multiple functions. So that is called the portmanteau morpheme. But this is the example for understanding purpose, but it is not very means very valid example because the English does not follow that portmanteau morpheme system. So like in the French, you can find this kind of example. So where the one morpheme has multiple realization or multiple interpretation or multiple meanings or multiple functions at a time. So that is called the portmanteau morphemes. So from the Urdu, if you have the example like in Urdu, for example, in a word like causatives, so there is a va suffix. Okay, so va suffix actually needs different types of subject. So like like उसने नौकर से uh, उसने नौकर से कमरा साफ करवाया. So karvaya. So here the va is the causative verbs. So if you add this va, so in terms of syntax, in terms of agreement, it needs one extra subject. So like naukar se. So like we have different types of causative. So we'll discuss the causative in the another lecture. So like there are two types of causative: indirect causative and direct causative. So direct causative needs a one object, but the indirect causative needs a two object. We can say that causatives there are two. So there is another division of the causative, like the first causative, like or we can call it the single causative and the double causative. So the single causative, मैंने कमरा साफ कराया, and मैंने कमरा साफ करवाया. So here we have the va and ya. So these have the two types of function. One is the verb is causative, and the other they needs a more than one object. So this kind of function. So this is the example of the portmanteau in Urdu, but this is not the very like very valid example. I just try to give you the main function of the portmanteau. So portmanteau means the one morpheme has multiple function or the multiple interpretation at a time. So which comes under the portmanteau morpheme. So there is another example of portmanteau in English. So when we use the s suffix in the verb, like he speaks or he eats, like he eats an apple. So here the verb eats. So sa has the multiple function. One function is that it describes the tense. When you use the sa with the verb, so it always the present tense. And the other thing is that when you use the s, so the subject should be the third person singular, like he or she or it. So that is the another function. So that means the s has multiple interpretation and multiple function and the multiple meanings. So which also comes under the portmanteau morphemes. And the is it clear portmanteau morpheme, or should I explain another examples? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're on. Yes, sir. It's enough. We've understood also.
So there are another types of bond morphemes, which is called the like zero morphemes and the empty morphemes. So the empty morphemes means when there is a physical form, but there is no meaning of that form. So which comes under the empty morphemes. So in English, we have some example of empty morphemes, but it is not means we do not have the lot of we do not have the like number of examples in English, but I can give you one or two examples where you can understand the exact meaning of empty morphemes. For example, in English, normally we have s, which is the plural morpheme. So when we are making the plural like books, boys, cats, plural morpheme. But in the word like oxen, and oxen. So like the oxen, we have the en. So en is the plural suffix, which is the exception in English. But in the other words, we have like children. So children, ren is the plural suffix. So if you go to the example of oxen, where the en is the plural suffix, so from that example you can understand that the en can be the morpheme which stands for plural. But in the children we have r is there. So here this r can be the example of empty morpheme because it is there as a physical form, but it does not have any meaning because the meaning of plural can be come from the en, because we can just cross check with the oxen example where the en is the suffix which give the meaning of plural. So in the children, en give the meaning of plural, but r is there as an empty morpheme, so it does not have any meaning, any interpretation. So empty morpheme means when there is a physical form and it has no meaning, it has no contribution in the language. So that is called the empty morpheme. So other types of morpheme is called the zero morphemes. So the zero morphemes means there is no form, but it has some meaning. So we have many examples in every language, means not every language, but in English, in Urdu, Hindi, we have many examples. So example like when you are making the plural, but there is no change in the form. Like in English, we have example like sheep, which is singular, and sheep, which is plural. And we have example like deer, which is singular, and deer, which is the plural. So there is no change in the form, but it has certain meaning of plural. So for making the plural, so the meaning of plural you can understand by the context. and by the use of the another elements in a language, so you can understand the meaning of pluralness. But but there is no physical form. There is no like the plural s there. There is no plural en there. So, but it has some meaning of plural. So that meaning is without form. So the zero morpheme means there is no form, but there is a meaning. So that is called the zero morpheme. So in Urdu we have many plural. So for those plural there is no change in the form. Like we have the word like admi. So for plural it is also admi. Ek admi, das admi. And we have another example like pani. We have another example like doodh, and we have another example like dada. We have another example mama. So these are the words which does not have any suffix, any plural form, but they have the meaning when we are using as a plural. So that pluralness can only be understood by the uh, context, by the other elements in a sentence, but physically it does not have any form there, which is called the zero morpheme. So that's the thing that we have discussed, like we have discussed the types of morpheme. So there is a two types of morpheme. One is the free morpheme and other is the bond morpheme. So free morpheme further divided into two types, lexical morpheme and the grammatical morpheme. And the bond morphemes are divided into many types, like prefixes, suffixes, infixes, and we have portmanteau, we have zero morpheme, we have inflectional morpheme, we have derivational morpheme, and we have zero morpheme. So all these things comes under the bond morphemes. So before we discuss the allomorph, so you must understand what is the morph. So we have discussed the morpheme. So morpheme means the minimal meaningful grammatical unit of a language. So that either it has the some lexical meaning or it has some grammatical function in a language. So that is the morpheme. What is the morph? So morph is the actual realization of the morpheme. So like any morpheme which is called the morpheme is the abstract unit. For example, if I am saying that the word cats has two morphemes. One is the cat and other is s. So s is the morpheme. Clear? But when you are using the s in the real speech, when I am speaking the cats or I am writing the cats, so now it becomes the morph because it comes under the actual realization. So why it is called the morph? Because morph can be changed. Morpheme, like we are just saying that the English has the s as a plural morpheme. So that is the one thing. But s can have different form. So these different form are the morph. So s sometime occur as s sometime occur as the, s sometime occur as is. So these are the actual morph because they are actual representation of s morpheme. So if the one single morpheme has different realization, so it becomes the allomorph. So like the plural s has the three different realization. One is the sa, second is za, and third is. So these are the allomorphs. And this thing is called morph because the morph means the actual realization of the morpheme. Means how it occurs when we are using. So like any morpheme, when you are using in the real speech, so it can be changed. It can be influenced by the adjacent sound. So that means it changes its realization. So that thing is called the morph. For example, if I am saying, give you the very simple example, if you understand the phonology, like any sound, like sa is here, and we have word like ed is there, past morpheme. So past ed does not have the only one representation ed. So sometimes it has the ta, it represents as ta, sometimes it represents as da, sometimes it represents as id. For example, if I am saying the word wanted, want, and we are adding the ed in the wanted, so it actually realizes as id. If I am saying that walk, So if I am adding the ed in the verb, so it become the walked. So the realization of ed is ta in the verb. If I am saying that in the for the da suffix, so so there is there are three types of there are three realization of ed. One is the ta, and there is another realization is da, and the third realization is id. So in the walked, so ed is realized as da, ta, and in the wedded, it realizes as id. And for da, so we have like loved. So we have the word love, and I am adding ed in the love, so it actually realizes da, loved. And in wanted, the ed realizes id. So ed easy ed past suffix has the three different realization. So the morpheme is one, which is called ed uh, past morpheme, but the morph are different, because when you are speaking the ed in different words in different adjacent sounds, so it has different representation. So in loved, it occurs as da. In wanted, it occurs as ed. In walked, it occurs as ta. So do you have any question, Azhar and Uzma?
Sir, I have a question to ask.
Yes.
How does zero marking operate in singular noun forms Hindi Urdu, sir?
How does
Zero marking operate in singular noun forms in Hindi Urdu?
zero morpheme? Yes.
Yes.
So in yes. Uh, so for example, I give you the example of plural. So there are many words which is used as a singular, like if I'm saying that एक गिलास दूध और 10 गिलास दूध, so there is no change in the दूध, either it is singular or the plural. So that is the दूध, which is the plural. So there is no specific marker for pluralness, but you can understand the pluralness by just context. And in the same way, we have the example like मेरे like एक आदमी और 10 आदमी. So there is no change in admi. So that is also comes under the zero morpheme, because there is no form, but there is meaning of plural. So the plural meaning you can only understand by the context. And we have also give the example of mama. So mama also does not have any plural marker. Like मेरे एक मामा है, मेरे 5 मामा हैं. Okay, so there is no change. We are not saying मेरे 5 मामे हैं. So that is not correct. And that is not acceptable. So which is also comes under the zero morpheme. Is it clear, Tahir, or do you have any other question? I could not understand.
Yes, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Azhar?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, utilization. Why we have different allomorph? Hello.
Different allomorph.
Yes, sir. Why we pronounce differently?
So there are certain conditions to pronounce differently. So that we have discussed in the initially the Uzma asked that same question, that what are the conditions for the allomorph. So for example, if you use any word in any language, so any sound in any language, so sounds are not independent to occur. Okay, so any morpheme is not independent to occur. So the morpheme can be influenced by the adjacent sound. तो जैसे हमारा जो सा मॉर्फीम है, प्लूरल सा जो है इंग्लिश में, so that sa can be influenced by the adjacent sound. When the sa occur after the voiceless sound, so it occur as sa, and when the sa occur after the voiced sound, so it occur as za, and when the sa occur after the sibilants or the uh, other types of fricative sound, like the sibilants or affricate, so it occur as the is. Like we have example like buses, we have example like churches, judges, classes. So all these example has the is. So that is the three different realization of the same morpheme sa. So these are the realization because of the adjacent sound. And that is the reason of different realization. Is it clear, Azhar?
Okay, sir. Also, it's same for past morpheme.
Same with the past morpheme, like when we have the voiceless sound, when the ed occur after the voiceless sound, so it occurs as ta, and when it occurs after the voiced sound, so it occurs as da, and when it occurs after the voice after the ta or da, so it occurs as id. So like wanted or wedded. So last sound is ta or da, so it occurs as id. Yes, Ozma, do you have any question?
No, sir, it's clear. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so what we are discussing, the allomorph. So, okay, so we have discussed the allomorph, the two types of allomorphs in Urdu, in like English. So that is the plural S has the three different realizations. Saza is, and there is condition for those realization. Like after the voiceless sound, it occurs as sa. After the voiced sound, it occurs as za, and after the sibilant sound, it occurs as is. And the same thing with the past ed. So past ed also has three different realization. So one is the ta. So the ta, ed occurs as ta after the voiceless sound, like walked. And after the wide sound is occurs da, like loved. And after the after the ta or da, it occurs id, like wanted or wedded. Now we come to the Urdu Hindi example. So is there any example of allomorph, or is there example of in Urdu Hindi? So for example, there is certain allomorph. For example, for plural, we have a different plural marker in Urdu. So for example, if I am saying that what is the plural of ladka, so it is ladke. Like लड़का खेलता है and लड़के खेलते हैं. मैंने एक लड़का देखा और मैंने 10 लड़के देखे. So लड़का become लड़के for the plural. But when we have the लड़की, so for लड़की we have लड़कियां. Like एक लड़की और 10 लड़कियां. And when the we have the oblique form, means the लड़कियां, when we are using any post position after the लड़कियां, like लड़कियां is plural, so लड़कियों को लड़कियों ने खाना खाया. So if you are using the लड़कियों ने, so now the लड़कियां change into यों, लड़कियों ने. So for oblique form, like when you have any post position after the plural, so it has different form, like लड़कियों. And for simple direct plural is लड़कियां. And for लड़का is लड़के. So now we have three different plural marker for in Urdu. So one is the A for ladka, second is ya for ladki, and third is yo for ne. When the ladkiyan occur before the ne or ko, so it becomes the ladkiyan. So all these three forms are the different realization of one plural morpheme. So they are the allomorph. So, but there is also certain condition for those allomorphs. For example, if any word end with the a sound, like ladka, so or the other words can be like neela, uh, पीला, so पीला become पीले, like पीले कपड़े, नीला become नीले, नीले कपड़े, लड़का become लड़के. So any words end with the a sound, so the plural should be a for that word. If any word end with the e sound, so the plural would be या, like लड़की लड़कियां, and तख्ती तख्तियां, खिड़की खिड़कियां. And any word which follows by the post position, so the oblique form has the another realization, like लड़कियों ने, खिड़कियों से, तख्तियों पर. So this kind of example we have. So these are the phonological conditions for those plural, those allomorph in Urdu. So phonological condition is that when any noun end with the a sound, so the plural should be a. When any noun end with the e sound, so the plural should be ya. When any noun end with the E, but it followed by the another postposition, so it changed into the yon. And same thing with masculine plural also, like ladka become ladke for plural, and when we are saying that ladko ne, ladke ne khana khaya is the A, and ladko ne khana khaya is the plural. So when you have the plural, so it occurs before the postposition, so it becomes the O. So that is the condition for the so that is the phonological and the grammatical condition as well as. So in Urdu, Hindi, we have both condition together. So the phonological condition is that when the noun end with the a, so the plural should be a. When the noun with end with the e, the plural should be iya, like lalaki and lalkiya. Yeah. But the grammatical condition is that when any noun followed by the postposition, so it changes form. That is the oblique form. So that is the another condition. So this is also the two realization of the same thing. So for plural, lalke become lalko when it is followed by the postposition. Like so, if we have if you can find all these example in the handout that I shared on the platform, same platform. So you can find, because if I have some blackboard or whiteboard, so I can explain better. So due to that restriction, I could not explain all these examples, but I just give you the overview of those examples, like what are the phonological condition and the grammatical condition in Urdu Hindi. So do you have any question, any confusion in this explanation?
No, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first, so another things that we are discussing in the first 2 weeks. So that is the difference between the word and morphemes. So to define a word, it is very complex. Like anything can be a word. For example, if I am saying that, like the word, so what is the very complex to define? Like any free morpheme can be word, like the book is also word. And if you are using the many inflection and derivational morphemes together, and there is one free morpheme, so that can also be the word. But any native speaker of the language can understood it very well. So for example, if you are the native speaker of Urdu, Hindi or Bangla, so you can identify the word in your language very easily. But for the other person who's the foreign speaker or the learner of that language, so they are not they cannot identify the words that much easily. So there are many things to define the word. So if you just see the definition of Ferdinand de Saussure, so he defines the word. So word, according to Ferdinand de Saussure, who is the father of modern linguistics, and he defined that word has the two things. Word has the two coin. One is the form and other is the concept or the meaning. So for example, the word book. So book has the two forms. So one is the when we are speaking the book or I'm writing the book. So there is a form B-O-O-K. So that is the orthographic form, which is called the form, the structure of the word. And the meaning is different. So meaning means the interpretation or the concept behind the word book. So when as a native speaker or as the learner of that language, you listen the word book, so the certain pictures come in your mind, the meaning of the book. So that is the meaning of that particular word book. So that means the any word has two form. One is the form, means the two aspect. So one is the form and the other is the meaning. And the other thing is that the Ferdinand de Saussure defined all these things in terms of signifier and signified. So the any form in a language is signifier, and the meaning or the interpretation or the concept behind that particular word is called signified. So the word book the form book or the when I'm speaking the book. So then when I'm speaking the book, so it has the three sound ba, u, and ka. And when I'm writing the book, so it has the four letters b, double o, and k. So that is the form, orthographic form and the phonological form. And it has certain meaning. So meaning means when you listen the word, when you just watch. When I'm writing on the whiteboard the book, so you just see the word book, so you can get the meaning. So that is the concept which comes in your mind is called meaning. Being a native speaker, you can understand the meaning of that particular word. So that is the definition by the uh, Ferdinand de Saussure in terms of uh, uh, signifier and signified. But there are many other definitions. So one definition based on the orthography. So like in orthography, if you have when you are writing any piece of letters, or we can say that there is some text. So in the text, you can find the word by the space. Like if you have like the when I'm writing like this is a cat. So after this, we have the space. After the is, we have the space. After the cat, we have the space. So all these combination of letters can be the word. So we can identify by the space in a language, in the writing system, in the orthography. But in the phonological system, by the pause, we can understand the word. Like when I am speaking, this is a cat, this is a book. So there is a pause after the word by word. So we can identify on that basis what is the word. But if you go to the another types of language, so there are the languages, different types of languages in the world. So there are certain languages are isolating languages, certain languages are fusional languages or the inflectional languages. There are certain languages are agglutinative languages. There are certain languages are polysynthetic languages. So the polysynthetic languages are those languages where the one word stand as a sentence. So in one word, so they are using one word, but the one word stands as a whole sentence. So there are some Eskimos languages, so they have that kind of features, polysynthetic feature. So where we have the full sentence as one word. So there is no pause and there is no uh, space when you are writing the one word. So it stands as a whole sentence. But the another language like the isolating languages like Chinese is the isolating languages and many Japanese is the isolating languages. So they actually stand the one word per morpheme. So every morpheme represent by the single entity. Like for example, we are having the word like workers, and we have having like word like playing and players, played. So in this played, we have the two morpheme. One is the play and other is ed. So they are separable, easily to separate. So that is the agglutinative in nature. Means they also comes under the inflectional languages. But uh, in that in isolating languages like Chinese, so every morpheme has single entity. So like for the plural, you have one entity, one word. For past, you have another representation. For tense, present, future, past, you have different representation. For progressive aspect, for perfective aspect, you have different morphemes. So every morpheme represents separately in the isolating language. But in the synthetic, in these inflectional languages, which we call the synthetic languages, so there is some fusion between the grammatical items. So like one grammatical item can be fused with the another item, so there is no separable. But in the agglutinative language, we can easily separate the words and morphemes. Like Urdu, Hindi is the agglutinative languages. So we have many examples where we can easily separate the morpheme, like which morpheme stand for plural, which morpheme stand for past, which morpheme stand for progressive. So all these things we can easily separate it. But in polysynthetic, one word stands for whole sentences. So that is the another very complex thing regarding the word. And how we can differentiate between the word and morpheme? So it is very easy. Like morpheme means any unit which has certain meaning, but it cannot be further divided, like the minimal unit of a language. So, for example, in any language, the minimal unit is the phoneme, or which is called the sound in a language. So, if you can arrange some sound, so you can make it syllable, and after the syllable you have morpheme. So morpheme means the minimal grammatical or the semantic unit. Grammatical unit means it has some grammatical function. Semantic unit means it has some meaning. We say some independent meaning. So we have the word like players. So in the players can be divided into three morphemes. One is the play, second is er, and third is s. Then all these things comes under the morpheme. So there is a free morpheme play, and bond morphemes are er and s. Clear? So that is the division which is comes under the so the in terms of the morphemes. So the morpheme means if you divide any part of the word as a unit and it has some certain meaning. So for the free morpheme, it has the independent meaning, but for the bond morpheme, it has some dependent meaning. So in the pillars, pile has the independent meaning, so it is the free morpheme, and er and s are the bond morpheme, so they have some dependent meaning. So er has certain meaning, some adjective meaning, but it has the adjective meaning when it occurs with other free morpheme, pillar. So er has some adjective meaning, and s has the meaning of plural. So when it occurs with the other words, so it has some meaning. So Pelear is also one word, and the Pelears is also the word. But they have the Pelear has the two morpheme and Pelears has the three morpheme. So it is very easy to identify the morpheme on the basis of the meaning, on the basis of the grammatical function. So certain morphemes are free morpheme and certain morphemes are bond morphemes. So that is the another types of division. So do you have any question?
No, sir.
So is it clear that how you can differentiate between the word and morpheme?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now we have I'm just going to focus on certain scope of the morphology. So in the beginning, we have to discuss what is the morphology. So morphology is the study of the structure of the word and the formation of the word. So any language, so every language has its own morphology. Like in the language, how we can drive the words, how we can modify the words, and how we can form the new words by different processes like prefixes, suffixes, infixes. So that is the morphology. And under the scope, we have discussed many things in the morphology. So the first scope we can discuss like there is a word formation processes. So in the word formation processes, we have the affixation processes. So in the affixation processes, we have certain prefixation and suffixation. So like any word, we can create lots of new word by just adding some prefixes and suffixes. Like, so if you have the word like, so how you can create or form another word with the word like? So by adding the suffix likely, you can create another word. And by adding some prefix like dislike, so that is the another formation of the word. So it gives the negative meaning. So that is the process which comes under the prefixation and the suffixation. So Urdu Hindi has many examples of those types of word formation for the prefixation, for the suffixation, and there are certain example of infixation also in Urdu Hindi. But however, this Urdu Hindi is not the language of infixation, but we can give you some example for infixation purpose also. Like we have the word like masjid. So the masjid, when we are making it plural in the Persianized way, so it becomes the masajid. So it has the a infix between the masjid. So which is comes under the infixation. So infixation means the any bond morpheme which add between the word or between the main word. So to form the any any other words. So here we are making it plural. Masjid become masajid. So the plural marker is a which adding between the root word masjid. So that comes under the infixation. For prefixation, we have many examples. Like we have like be, we have like la, we have many other words like in suffixes. We have mand, like akal mand, and we have like e, like lachar, lachari, and we have like o, kitab, kitabon. We have like a, ladka, ladke, and we have many other suffixes and prefixes in Urdu Hindi. And the other word formation process in Urdu Hindi is called compounding. So in compounding is very interesting in any language and it has many examples. So Urdu Hindi is the language of compounding. So compounding is very crucial and very prominent feature of word formation in Urdu Hindi. So compounding generally means when we are adding the two free morpheme to create a new word. So that is called the compounding. So in English, we have the example like black plus board become the blackboard. White plus house become the white house. And lady plus finger become lady finger. And we have another example from Urdu Hindi. So we have the example like kutub plus khana, kutub khana. And we have the example like pustak plus alay become pustakalay. We have vidya plus alay, vidyalay. So when we are adding the two free morpheme into one word, so it becomes the compound words. So we have different types of compounds in Urdu Hindi. So there are four types of compounds. Like so, one is the endocentric, and there is exocentric, and the third one is called oppositional, where we do not have any head, and the third one is called dwand compound. So in that or the copulative compound, where we have the both are head. So for that example, we have mata pita, we have bhai bahan, we have phupa phupi, we have nana nani, dada dadi. So this kind of word comes under the copulative compound word, where both are heads. Both words are the head words. And there are certain examples in English or Urdu where we do not have any head, but they have. So in English, like if we have the example like lady finger. So there is no head. So there is no contribution of like lady or finger, and so which contribute to the another meaning. But if I am saying like the White House, so it has some head, the types of house. And if I'm saying white board, the type of board, so there is a head in those words. So that is called endocentric. But in the exocentric, there is no head. In copulative, there is a both words are head. Like so, we have the example from Urdu Hindi. In English, we have some another example like director, producer. This kind of example comes under the copulative. So where are both words are heads. So that is the examples, that is the terms compounding, which has the crucial features of word formation in any language to form the new words in a language and to create the new words in any language like Urdu, Hindi or English. And the other types of word formation process in English, we have like blending. So the blending means when we are adding the uh, two morpheme, but not the whole two morpheme. The first part of the one morpheme and the last part of the another morpheme, which is called the blending process. So we have the word like motel, motor plus hotel, motel. And we have word like smoke. That is the combination of smoke plus fog. So that is called the blending in English. And we have another word like brunch, breakfast, breakfast plus lunch. So that is the example of blending in English. So that is also the word formation processes. And the other word formation process in Urdu, Hindi, or English, but English does not follow that kind of word formation process called reduplication. So in Urdu, we can change, we can modify the meaning by just the process of reduplication. Means we are repeating the same item twice, like खाते खाते, चलते चलते, भागते भागते, रोते रोते, जागते जागते. So we are repeating the same item twice, and it modifies some meaning. It actually drives the new meaning. It does not give the same meaning. Like वो भागता हुआ गया. If I am say वो उसने भागते भागते ऐसा काम किया. So that भागते भागते or from the single verb भागते it has a different meaning from that single verb bhagte. So it is the another types of word formation process in Urdu, Hindi, and in English we do not have this reduplication process. But exceptionally, we could have some example like by and zigzag, some partial reduplication also. And the other types of word formation process in Urdu, in English, we have acronyms and abbreviation. So the acronyms means when we are just making the one word by the initial letter of many other words. So we have the example of acronyms is the UNICEF, and we have the word like another word like ICSSR. We have the word like AMU, and we have the words like HIV. We have the words like WHO. So these are the actually the creating the word by just taking the initial letter of another words. But one form is called acronyms and other form is called abbreviation. So abbreviation means when we are pronouncing by letter, like AMU is the abbreviation form. But if I'm saying the UNICEF, so that is the UNICEF is the example of acronyms because we are pronouncing the whole word as one entity like UNICEF. We are not providing the U and ICEF. We are just pronouncing the UNICEF. So it is called the acronyms. And WHO is the abbreviation. WTO is the abbreviation. AMU is the abbreviation. So that comes under the acronyms and abbreviation. Now we come to the another types of word formation process in English is called clipping. So in the clipping, we are not speaking the whole word, but we are just speaking the short form of that word. The short form can be taken from the initial some letters. So that is the clipping. So we have the many regular words in English. We are those words used as a clipping form, like exam. So exam is a clipping form of the examination. Gym is the clipping form of gymnasium. Lab is the clipping form of the laboratory. And math is the clipping form of the mathematics. And bio is the clipping form of the biology. So these are the clip form or the clipping that we are using. So they are using some initial letters or the some part of the word, but that means the whole word. So which comes under the clipping. So it is very common in English, but in Urdu, Hindi, we do not have that kind of word formation process. But exceptionally, we can have some borrowed terms. So if you are borrowing the gymnasium word from the English into the Urdu, so gym can be used as a clipping form in Urdu also. So that is the clipping form. And other word formation process we have also in Urdu, in English and Urdu, and most of the time in Urdu or in any language is called the borrowing. So the borrowing is the term. So that is very common in any language. So that is also one word formation process. So for any item that you are just taking and you are just borrowed from the another culture or another language, so you are also borrowing the term for that language. So that is called the borrowing. And which is very common. So borrow means that we have borrowed many words from the English in Urdu, from the Chinese in Urdu, from the another language in Urdu. So that is the borrowed item. So like for food we have borrowed from Chinese like chow mein words, and the for electronic gadgets we have borrowed many words like internet we are using in Urdu, like computer we are using the word in Urdu. That is the borrowed terms and the borrowed words. So that is also the word formation process. And the other process, which is less common, but not means less common, which is less productive. We can other say less productive is called coinage. So any language has some capacity to coin the new words. So how you can coin the new words? By the different concepts. So in English, we have some example of coinage like Xerox. So Xerox is the word which is the coinage word, coin word. So coinage means if you have coined, if you have created the new words. So that word is not borrowed from any other languages, but it is coined, it is in that particular language by some situation. So that is called, that is not that much common in the language, but it is there in any language. So many languages borrow means coin the new words for the new items, for the new things that are introduced in that particular cultures. Is one of the types of borrowing. Coinage is also the word formation process. So these are the word formation process that we have under the scope of the morphology. And on the above of that, we have also some other system in the morphology under the scope. So we have different types of, like that we have discussed, different types of languages, like the according to their morphological nature, we are categorizing different types of language that we have already discussed. Like some languages are the isolating languages, some languages called the uh, agglutinative, some languages are the fusional or the synthetic languages, some languages are the polysynthetic languages. So these terms are also comes under the scope of the morphology. And in the scope, the other thing we have the morphophonemics. So the morphophonemics means the interface between the morphology and phonology. So in terms of Hindi Urdu, we have many example of Sandhi. So Sandhi means, so when we are adding the two things together, so that is the combination of the morphology and phonology. So that means if you are adding the two morpheme, means the one word uh, adding with the another morpheme. So there is certain operation happened at the word boundary. So that operation is called morphophonemics operation. So morphophonemics means how the morpheme is influenced by the adjacent phoneme when we are adding to when we are adding the word with the another morpheme. So all these example of in English comes under the morphophonemics. So for example, when we are adding the cat, so there is a word cat when we are adding the plural s, so it actually realizes as s. And when we are adding the s in the dog, so it actually has as za. So that is the word boundary. That is the dog. So the ga sound influence the pronunciation of the plural sa. So that change from the sa into the za. Because of the ga has the voiced feature. Because of that voiced feature, sa morpheme change into the za morpheme. And there is another example of that morphophonemics. in English, which is very common. So, for example, any word start with the consonant. So we are using a. Uh, so a article before that noun or before that word, like a book, a, a table, a bottle. But if the word start with the vowels like apple, so it become the an apple. So because of that sound, the initial sound of the letter, the morpheme change into the a into n, from a to n, like a book, an apple, an elephant, an ox, an umbrella. So that change from the a to n is also called the morphophonemics operation. So because it is the morphophonemics operation. Why? Because of the phoneme, which is the initial sound of certain words, the morpheme is getting changed. So from the a morpheme, we are changing into the n morpheme. So that is the example of sandhi in English. So how the sound or how the morpheme is modified or morpheme is changed because of the adjacent sound or the followings or the preceding sound of that combination. So which comes under the morphophonemics operation. And there are many other things which also comes under the this scope of the morphology. So we discuss one more thing, which is called the root, base, and stem. So if you are studying the word structure of any language, so there are three types of word structure. So one types of word is called the root, and the other is called base, and the third one is called stem. So there is some uh, condition and there is some definition of the those structures. So which word is called the root word? So in any complex word, we have root word. So root word means that word when you are removing all the affixes, all the suffixes and prefixes from that particular words. For example, if I'm saying the word unhappiness, you and another word is we can call it like internationalization or the nationalization. So what is the root word in the nationalizations? The root word is called nation. So root word means that word when you are remove all the affixes, all the prefixes, all the suffixes, and the remaining part is called the root word. And if you are further analyze or divide into the parts, so it lose its meaning. So that means the nationalization word, the nation is the root word. In the workers, the work is the root word. So the S and ER can be removed from the workers. So the remaining part, work, is called the root word. And now come to the what is the base? So base means like any form of the word in which we can add any types of affixes, like either prefixes, suffixes, or infix, means any types of affixes we can add. So for example, if I am saying that like workers, so in the workers, for workers, worker is the base because S actually attached to the worker. So for the word workers, worker is the base. And for worker, work is the base. So base means the form in which you can add any types of suffixes. The root means when you remove all types of affixes. So the remaining part is called root. And now come to the third things and the third types of word, which is called stem. What is the stem? So the stem means the word in which the inflectional suffix is added. So that word is called, and that part of the word is called stem. So stem has some relation with the inflectional suffixes. So to understand the stem, you must understand what are the inflectional suffixes in any language. So for example, we have the word like books. We have the word like walking. So in the books, S is the inflectional suffix. So that's why the book is the stem. And when I'm calling the players, so in the players, S is the inflectional suffix, which is the plural marker. So player is the stem. And when I'm saying the played, so ed is the inflectional suffix. So play is the stem. So that is the thing which comes under the stem. So you just understand the basic difference between the root, base, and stem. So root means the basic form when you remove all the affixes, and the base means the any form in which you add any types of affixes. So for example, books, the book is base also because as you are adding some suffixes. But if you see for the inflectional purpose, so it is stem also. So book is also stem because S is the inflectional suffix. And book is also root because it cannot be further. There is no affixes in the book. It is the basic form. There is no affixes. There is no prefix. There is no suffix in the book. So book is also the root form of the word. So that is the thing that we understood. What is the base, what is the root, and what is the stem in a language. Now come to the another scope, which is called the types of words in a language. So basically in Urdu, Hindi, or in English, we have three types of word. One is the simple words, other is compound word, and third one is the complex word. So compound word we have already discussed in compounding. So simple words means the free morphemes are the simple word. So there is no suffixes, there is no prefixes, there is no affixes, there is no infixes. So the free morpheme or the root words we call root word, which is called the simple word in a language. So like the book, chair, table, bottle. So all the words are tree, dog, uh, uh, chair, table, dog, cat, man, woman. So all the words are the simple words. But compound word means when we are adding two simple words together, or the two free morpheme together, or we call the two root words together. So like we have the word like blackboard, we have the word like White House, we have the word in Urdu, we have the words like Mata Pita, we have the words like Ma Baap. In Urdu, we have the word like Bhai Behan. So all these words are the compound words. So where we have the two simple words joined together to create one word, which is called the compound word. And the complex words is the third types of word is called the complex word. So complex word means when we are adding any morpheme or affixes in the simple words. So like in the simple words like the book, if you are adding S, books, so books is the complex word. When you are adding ISH, bookish is the complex word. When you are adding the ING, booking, so booking is the complex word. Worker is the complex word. Teacher is the complex word. So if you are in the simple words, if you are adding one or two bond morpheme or the prefix or suffixes like two bond morpheme or three bond morpheme or the four bond morpheme in one free morpheme, so that is called the complex word in a language. So in Urdu, kitab is the simple word, kitab khana, kutub khana, or kitab khana is the compound word, and kitabe is the complex word. Kitabi is complex word because in the kitabe, kitab is the simple words, and we are adding one morpheme in kitabe. That way, it becomes the complex word. So that's the things we have covered within the scope. So if you have any question now, so you can ask. Yes, Uzma.
Sir,
Yes.
so you have told like we have discussed about the derivation also, the process in it. So how it differs from compounding in word formation?
Compounding
These two
actually is the
processes.
types of derivation process in a language. Okay.
Mhm.
So because compounding is also driving the new words by just adding the two free morpheme. So
Okay.
compounding comes under the derivation. Derivation means what? Derivation means how we can
It is also
create or how.
creating new words, no, sir?
Yes, it is driving the new words because with the two free morpheme, we are driving the new word which has the totally different meaning. So it is the derivation process. Compounding is one of the derivation process.
So can you please
Okay.
repeat one more time?
So I'm just saying that compounding is the types of derivation process.
Okay.
Okay. So in the compounding, we are just adding two free morpheme to drive the new words.
Okay.
So that is the derivation process. Yes.
So in derivation, so that means in derivation we can't use two free morphemes, right, sir? In derivation.
But here in the derivation, we are using two free morpheme in the compounding.
Okay. So it's a kind of.
So derivational morpheme is a different thing. Derivation process is a different thing. Okay.
So
If I,
compounding comes under word formation process only.
so it is the word formation process, but it comes under the derivation process. It driving the new meaning,
Oh,
new words.
under sub.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Derivational morphemes are different things. So because some morphemes are the inflectional morphemes, some are derivational morphemes. So derivational morphemes are those morphemes which are driving the new words and new meaning. Inflectional morphemes are those morphemes which are not driving the new meaning but changing some grammatical feature. Clear?
Oh, yes. Thank you, sir.
Any other has any question? Because so okay, I stop here. So if you have any question, any query, or any doubts, can ask, or should I leave?
Sir, and what about that assignments? If you can, we have to submit the assignments also.
Yes, because every week when you complete all the lectures, you just listen the lecture, and after that you complete that assignment for week wise. And after when you completed all the assignment for all the weeks, and in the last you have one final exam.
Okay.
So that is the exam will happen physically in your areas.
So,
So
sir,
that will
one assignment
inform.
per week we will get?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
For 15
So
questions.
what will be the deadline for submitting those assignments?
So there is no deadline, but within the course will run till April. So okay, so you have to complete all these weeks till April. If you start now or if you start after 10 days, so there is no problem. But
Okay.
you have to complete within the time framework. That's the thing.
ठीक है, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So I just stop here.